Hi everyone and welcome to class today. Today let's discover more backbends in the flip grip, and we're going to try the wheel pose but in a bit harder variation. It's called the hard wheel pose. With your elbows will be on the floor. So let's prepare with you 2 blocks and a strap and some pillows to support you in the knees in Anjaneyasana pose with your knees bent. And then let's lay down on the mat. We're going to start the class with some core workout, so you have strong core to protect your spine, especially in the lower back. First, let's lay down on the floor with your knees bent and put your feet on the floor. Keep your hands on your belly, close your eyes, and start inhaling deeply into your belly. When you inhale, feel your belly raising up to your hands. And when you exhale, squeeze your belly button down toward your spine. You can also use the Ujjayi breath with your tongue locking into your throat and make a sound in the back side of your throat. Let's stay here for a few more breaths. Calm down inside you, turning your focus into your body. Get the most feeling from your body. And then you can stop and slowly open your eyes. Now let's lift your legs up. And then bend your knees. Keep your knees right on the top of your hips. We're going to put a block between your knees. So I think you can use the thin side of the block and try to keep your legs squeezing into the block. But you can also try the wider side and decide which side would go best for you. Okay, and try to keep your knees right on the top of your hips, so on the same level. Don't bring your knee too close to your chest. Now let's open your arms out to the side like a letter T and turn your palms up. So we will not try to press your arms down to the floor. And we do that by turning your palms up, because if you turn your palms down, you will tend to press into your hands and use your arm strength. But here we want to use your core strength to do this. Alright, so now from here, let's squeeze your belly in and feel how all of your back, including the hips, is on the floor. So you will not be lifted your hips up, and you will not lift your low back up. Keep your knees right on the top of your hips. So just the right position for your low back and your hips to be on the floor. And then let's slowly bring your knees toward your right hand. And then let's slowly bring your knees toward the right side without lifting your shoulders up. So your hips start lifting from the floor. Go further and further and further without lifting your shoulders up. See how far you can go without lifting the shoulders up, and then slowly come back to the center and feel your hips back on the floor again. Take a deep inhale and exhale, go to the left side. It's like you want to bring this block down to the floor on the left side, but you keep both of your shoulders on the ground. That means you will not put your knees on the ground, and then slowly come back. So you will try to discover how far you can go without lifting your shoulders from the floor. Go to the right side this time. And then slowly come back to the center. Take a deep inhale in the center. And exhale, bring your legs to the left side. Always squeeze into the block. And go as far as you can without lifting your shoulders, especially the right shoulders up. Go back to the center. And bring the blocks to the right side. And try not to lift your left shoulder up at all. Press your left shoulder down to the floor. And then slowly come back to the center. And then finish it on the left side. Keep squeezing into the block, don't drop it, don't let it go. Go as far as you can without lifting your right shoulders up. And then slowly come back to the center. Now you can put your feet on the floor again. And move the block to the side. Take a few breaths here. Then going to do a bridge pose, so bring your arms along your body. Press your heels down to the floor. And lift your belly, lift your hips up from the floor. You can roll your arms underneath your chest and find your hands and interlace your fingers. When you inhale, bring your pubic bone even higher. And when you exhale, squeeze your belly down toward your spine. So don't make your belly become the highest peak of this pose. Shorten your belly all the time. And feel how your glute and your hamstring in the backside of your legs are working very much by pressing the heels down to the floor. And then let's slowly bring your spine back down to the floor. And stay on the floor. We're going to try the twisting pose again by bringing the blocks into your shin bone and stretching your legs. So you can still bend in your knee. But think of how you want to keep your heel right on the top of your sitting bone. With your knee still bent is fine. And bring your arms out like letter T again. Still keep your hips and your low back on the floor. Squeeze your legs into the block. We want to bring your toes toward your right hand this time. And of course without lifting your left shoulder up. See how far you can go? Once you feel like it's your limit, slowly come back to the center. Don't go further because you will lift your left leg up, left shoulder up. And go to the other side as you exhale. Bring your toes. Almost want to touch your left hand, but don't lift your right shoulders up. Once you feel your right shoulder start lifting up, go back to the center. And then the other side. Maintain your long and slow breath. You don't have to be as fast or as slow as I do. Do it on your own body. Go to the left side. And try to bring your toes higher and higher toward your hand. Slowly come back to the center. Inhale. And exhale. Start bringing your legs to the right side. It's like you want to put your feet into your right hand. But your left shoulder will not lift off from the floor. And slowly come back to the center. Go to the left. As you go to the side, you can exhale and squeeze your belly in. And then inhale, come to the center. And one more round, right side first. Keep your shoulders on the floor. Slowly come back to the center. And then left side. Do as slow or as fast as you want. With a lot of control in your belly. Slowly come back to the center. And then you can get the blocks out of your way. And bring your legs down to the floor. Let's turn your legs from side to side gently. And then hug your knees into your chest. Try to point your toes. We're going to mimic a crow pose in this laying down on the floor position. And use your own belly strength to bring your knees up very high. Turn your palms up to the sky and try to touch your knees into your arms. So this will be very shortening for your belly in a crow pose shape. Then let's hold your knees. Rock yourself forward and backward for a few times. You can either turn to the side and go up, or you can just rock yourself and go to a sitting pose. Inhale, bring your arms over your head. And exhale, forward bend. And then inhale, lift your hips up, bring your legs behind you. And bring your hands down to the floor into table pose. So in table pose, we're going to do the cat-tail pose. That is the pose where you hold your leg. If you feel like your knees are very sensitive, let's support your knee with the pillow. From table, let's inhale cow pose and exhale cat pose. 2 more rounds. Inhale cow and exhale cat. And 1 more round. Try to make the cow very big, very bendy. Big arc here. And exhale. Make the cat very rounded. Then go back to the center. Inhale 1 more time, cow pose. Bring your right leg up as you inhale. And exhale, bring your right knee toward your face. Round yourself. Pick your leg up as high as you can. Squeeze into your belly. 2 more times, inhale. And exhale. Then 1 more time, let's inhale. And then exhale, bring your knee to your face. And then step your right foot forward to your right hand position. Let's lower your hips. Make your legs go further away from each other in Anjali Asana. Hands holding into your hips. I want you to really close your left hip in and forward. And feel how your left hip bone is facing the front completely. And feel how your hips is square, which means they are equally facing the front of your mat. And you are not turning to the side. You can check your shoulder and your belly button and make sure all the points on the front of your body are facing the front and nothing is turning to the side. Then bring your arms over your head. So in the next 3 breaths, let's do a back bend by lifting your chest up as you inhale. And exhale, bring your hip even lower and turning your left hip in. Inhale, chest up higher. Maybe you can lean back a little bit more and exhale, bring your hips even lower. And 1 more breath like that. Reaching your arms back like you want to hold something behind you. And then slowly get out of this pose. Bring your hands down to the floor and step your front leg back into plank pose. So in plank, bend and straighten your knees a little bit. Straighten your left knee. Move your body forward. Chaturanga as you exhale. Inhale either cobra pose or upward facing dog. And in either pose, bring your shoulders down and away from your ears. Bring your shoulders behind you. Make your chest really big. And exhale, downward facing dog. Round yourself as if you go from cow to cat. Through plank pose and then down dog. You can walk your heels on and off the floor in down dog. Bend each knee. And you can move your hip from side to side. And as you do that, think of how you bring your hips up higher and higher. Then let's inhale plank and exhale, bring your knees down to the mat into table pose again. Let's inhale, bring your right hand to the right side and exhale, put your right shoulder on your left hand. The whole right arm will be on the floor. You'll put your head on the floor and turn your face to the left side and try to bring your hips to the right side. So bring your hips to the opposite side that you are looking at right now. Because we tend to be tilted with the hips to the same side, and that will not be efficient as a twist. Push your hips back, bring your left hand up as you inhale, and think of how you want to open your left hand behind you and behind you deeper and deeper, and still keep your left arm straight. It's like you want to touch the floor behind you with your left hand, and always push your hips to the right side, which means push your hips to the side behind you. Take a deep inhale and exhale. Twist even more. Feel like you want to turn your chest up to the sky. And then slowly get out of this pose. Find the strap with you and wear the strap on your right leg. Actually, let's do it with your right leg up. Hold the strap with your left hand and then hold the strap. Find your right foot and hold the strap here. From here, let's bring your left hand to your left shoulder. If it's too far away, kick your leg up higher or lengthen the strap. And then bring your elbows in front of you. Hug your left elbow toward your head. Don't open it out. Kick your leg up higher and higher. And see if you can bring your left shoulder down away from your ear. So your neck will still be long. Take a deep inhale and exhale. Maybe you can walk your hand closer and closer toward your foot. It's a lot of leg strength here to lift your leg up. And try to turn your right hip down to face the ground. While your right knee and right foot is still raising up really high. Look at a still point and keep breathing. Inhale and feel the front of your body very stretched. And exhale, tighten your belly in, strengthen the core. And to get out of this pose, bring your left hand toward your left shoulder again. Lengthen the strap, bring your elbows back, and slowly bring your leg down to the floor. Round yourself into cat pose as you exhale. Walk your hands back closer to your knees. Press your hands through the floor and still moving your body forward. Lift your knees from the floor. It's almost like a crow pose here. And stay here. Try to bring your hips up higher too. And then let's bring your knees down to the floor. Walk your hands back to the table pose. Inhale, cow pose. And exhale, cat pose. One more time, inhale, cow. Very slowly, find back your breath. And exhale, cat. And now let's inhale, cow pose. Lift your left leg up. And exhale, round yourself, knee to your face. Mountain climbing pose. 2 more times, inhale, left leg up high. And exhale, round yourself. Try to squeeze your legs up really high so that your leg will be very far away from the floor. Inhale, cow. And exhale, cat. So one more time, inhale, cow. And exhale, cat pose. Bring your knee to your left arm and step your left foot forward. Anjali Asana pose. Bring your legs further away from each other so that your hips can become really low. Raise yourself up, hold your hands into your hips and really close your right hip in. Turn your right hip forward so you start feeling the stretch in the front of your right hip. Make sure that your body is facing the front of the room, your hip is square. Always turning your right hip in, even when later you do the back bend, hands holding each other over your head. Let's inhale, raise your chest up. You can look at somewhere in front of you and up, maybe on the wall or on the ceiling in front of you. And when you exhale, bring your hips lower toward the floor and always turning your right hip in. Don't open yourself to the right side at all. For 2 more breaths like that, every time you inhale, raise your chest even higher and reaching your hands further away from the back side. And exhale, keep your hips lower toward the floor for 1 more breath. And exhale, and let's slowly come back. Bring your hands down to the floor. Step your front foot back into plank pose. Notice your hands and your arms position in plank. And from here, shake your knees a little bit. From plank, hands still sticking on the floor, especially thumbs and index finger. Move your shoulders forward. Bend your elbows, chaturanga. And then inhale, cobra pose or up dog. And in either pose, bring your shoulders away from your ears and squeeze them to each other behind you. Very strong back here and very big chest, like a cobra. Round yourself. So move very slowly from the back bend to plank and downward facing dog. Walking your heels on and off the floor for a while in down dog. Bring your hips up higher and higher. You can move your hips tilting from side to side too. And then inhale, plank, and exhale, knees down to the mat. Table pose again. Left arm to the left side as you inhale. And exhale, left shoulder down to your right hand into the twist. Open your right hand up to the sky. And move your hips to the right side too. So when you look, you don't see your hip. You try to hide it away from your eyes. And bring your right arm behind you. Still keep your right arm straight. It's like you want to turn your chest up to face the sky and you want to touch your right hand down to the floor. Maybe it's not happening right now, but that's where we are going to. So take a deep inhale and exhale, twist even more. Squeeze your belly in every time you twist. Inhale and exhale, twist even deeper, reaching your hands further and further toward the floor behind you. For 1 more breath, inhale. And exhale. And then slowly get out of this pose too. Bring your hand down to the floor. Go back into table pose. And now let's use the right hand to hold the strap. So I'm going to inhale, cow pose, and lift my left leg up. Find the right hand to the left foot and wear the strap into the left ankle. Keep your left leg always raising up. Bring your right hand close to your shoulder. Lengthen the strap if you need to. And bring your elbows in front of you. So now your elbows will be right next to your head in the front. Inhale, kick your leg up higher. Point your toes toward your head, toward your hands. So your hand will be easier to walk toward your foot. the cat tail pose. As you inhale, raise your chest up higher, and exhale, kick your legs up even higher. Point your toes really strong from your hips to your toes. And move your right shoulders down and away from your ears. And hugging your right elbows in all the time. Take a deep inhale and feel the stretch in the front of your body. And exhale, squeeze your belly in. Very strong core. And to get out of this pose, bring your right hand to the shoulder. Slowly bring your right elbow back. And bring your foot down to the floor. Move the strap out of your way. And then let's go to downward facing dog. As you exhale, walk your heels a little bit, moving your body from side to side. Look between your hands and step your feet forward toward your hands. Inhale, halfway up. And exhale, forward bend. Then we will stand up slowly. Inhale, bring your arms over your head. And exhale, hands in front of your heart. And take a few breaths here. Now let's open your eyes and find the strap with you. We will do flip grip dancer pose on your right hand. So hold the strap with your right hand. And stand with your left leg. Bend your right knee. And first put your strap into your foot already. You can hold the strap very close. We're going to try the flip grip today. So your left arm, you can bring it over your head and slowly kick your right leg up. Then you can bend your right elbow and bring your foot very close to you, and your right hand will be touching your right shoulder. Then you bring your elbow forward into the flip grip. You can join your left hand to your right hand too and kick your leg up high. Point your toes toward your hands and reach your hands toward your toes. And keep your elbows hugging into your head. Don't open them out. Think of your hip bones and your shoulders and your belly button. We want all of them to face the front of the room and not the side. Stay here for a few breaths. If you feel like you fall out of this pose, you can hold your left hand to the wall so you'll be balanced. And try to straighten your front leg as much as you can. Kick your knee up very far away. It's almost like a split you're doing with your leg. When you inhale, feel more of the stretch in front of you. And when you exhale, squeeze your belly in. And then slowly get out of this pose. Bring your right hand back to your shoulder. And move the strap out of your way. Step your right foot back into a high lunge. Bring your arms over your head as you inhale. High lunge. And exhale, hands holding on your hips. Check your hips, make sure it's square. Bring your knee right on the top of your ankle and round yourself. Bring your arms in front of you. Reaching your hands forward, pushing your hips, your belly back. And move your hips forward. And then let's push your hands up to the sky. Remember, this pose is like you're pushing something up. This is a preparation for wheel pose. It will look like this. Do the back bend and push that invisible things behind you. Bend your front knee even more. And lift your chest up very high so the bend will not be all the way into your low back. When you inhale, lift your chest up higher. Look at something on the sky. And exhale, push your hands even further and lower behind you. One more breath. Inhale. And exhale. Let's slowly come back. Bring your back foot down to the floor. Bring your arms out as you inhale. Bend your front knee. And exhale, reverse warrior. So this time in reverse warrior, we're going to round in your spine. And you're going to turn your chest to face the floor. Reaching your hands to the right side. And stretching the left side and maybe a little bit on the back side. Inhale, warrior 2. And exhale, bring your hand down to the floor. And do the twist, the bound. So find your hands here for the bound. And then turn your chest up toward the sky. So here from the bound 2 option, you can either try bounded triangle, straighten your front leg, or you can try bounded half moon, bringing your back leg up and go to half moon pose. Let's play with this pose now that you kind of know how to do it. And then not for so long, going back into extended side angle pose, opening your arms, hands down to the floor. Step your front foot back and send it right up to the sky into down dog split. Let's bring your leg up very high. And then bring your right heel down to the floor, pointing your right toes out, almost like a 45 degree. Inhale here. Exhale, bend your left knee and open your left hip up high. Now see if you can put your left hand into the middle line of your mat and lift your right hand up. So maybe you can lift your right palms up, still keeping the fingertips. But if possible, you can lift your right hand up too. And maybe you can find your foot, reaching your hand to your foot and your foot to your hand. You don't have to find them yet. Just try and go back to down dog. Plank as you inhale and exhale chaturanga. Inhale cobra or up dog and exhale downward facing dog. Stay for a while in down dog. Raise your hips up high. And then inhale, right leg up. Let's bend your right knee and then put your right foot behind you for the wild thing pose. This time, keep your right heel off the floor. Only your right toes will be on the floor. Turn your chest up toward the sky and feel like you want to reach your right hand to your left hand. Feel your right arm behind on the top of your ear. Inhale in wild thing. You can try to go to wheel pose by bringing both feet on the floor. Yeah, optional. And then we're going to go back through side plank. So right hand up to the sky. Start stepping your left foot down to the floor just like in side plank position and bring your right leg up. Lift your right knee really high, point your toes and slowly step your right foot forward to your right hand position on the mat. Slowly stand up into high lunge as you inhale. Shake your hands a little bit, it's tired, on the floor. And exhale, hands behind you. Interlace your fingers, squeeze your shoulders to each other and back bending. So inhale, chest up, and exhale, reaching your hands further and further behind. Inhale, chest up. And exhale, reaching further. Maybe you can walk your hands along your side. Whew. Inhale deeply and exhale, slowly get out of this. So now still keep your fingertips interlaced. Inhale and exhale, shoulder to your knee. Humble warrior. Pointing your hands up to the ceiling and squeezing your shoulder blades to each other. Really feel how your shoulders, muscles are squeezing into each other. And then slowly release your hands. Hands down to the floor. Bring your back leg forward. Inhale halfway up. And exhale, forward bend. Slowly stand up as you inhale. And exhale, give yourself a big back bend by bringing your hands back, reaching your hands back. Inhale deeply, and as you exhale, slowly come back to the center with your hands in front of your heart. Take a few breaths here to calm down. Find your core strength by exhaling and squeezing your belly button toward your spine. And then we will do dancer pose on your left leg. So let's prepare the strap with your left hand. Stand with your right leg, bring your left leg up and wear the strap into your foot. You can bring your right arm over your head to keep balance here. Kick your leg back very much and bend your elbow. So you want to bring your foot, bend your hand very close to your left shoulder, and then you bring your left elbow in front of you. Don't open your elbow out, hug them in all the time. Then your right hand can join your left hand. Let's kick your leg up really high and you can lean yourself forward too. And think of how your hip bones, your shoulders and your belly button are all facing the front of the room. So nothing is turning out to the left side. Try to stay here for a few breaths and come closer with your hands and your feet. Keep hugging your elbows toward your head. Try to be balanced. If you lose your balance, let's hold your right hand into the wall to keep you balanced in this pose. Take a few inhale and feel how the stretch is all over the front of your body. And exhale, squeeze your belly in. Find the core strength even in this back bend pose. And to get out of this pose, bring your left hand down to your shoulder and bring your left elbow behind you again. Get the strap out of your way. Step your left foot back, a long step into high lunge pose. And hold your hands into your hip, round yourself. Think of how you bring your belly very behind, but you bring your hips and your hands very much forward, rounding yourself. So it's a kind of counter pose for what we did earlier, the back bend. Then let's inhale, turn your hands up to the ceiling. Start pushing that invisible things up and behind you as you do the back bend. Bend your front knee a lot, feel it very strong on your legs, and pushing back and back. Let's stay here for a few breaths and imagine this is the shape of wheel pose that we're going to do later. So inhale, lift your chest up, and exhale, push your hands further and further behind you and lowering your hands too. It's like you're walking your hands down an invisible world behind you. Inhale, chest up higher, looking at something in the ceiling, and exhale, lower your arms even more. And slowly get out of this pose. Inhale, stand up, and exhale, bring your back foot down to the floor. Warrior 2. Bend your front knee and make your warrior 2 quite wide. Inhale, arms out, and exhale, reverse warrior. This time round yourself and turn your chest down toward the floor on your left side a little bit. You can even bring your head down too. So now you feel a stretch happening at the right side and a little bit on the back side. Take a deep inhale and exhale. And slowly come back to warrior 2. Inhale and exhale, bounded side angle. Bring your right hand down inside your foot. Turn your top hand back and bring it down so you can connect your hands. 2 options here. You can stay here and slowly straighten your knee into bounded triangle pose. Or you can go forward and do bounded half moon. You can even do both. Let's try these poses. Now that we know how to do them, you just need to do them more and more times until you eventually do them smoothly. Okay, so we not stay here for long. Step back and open your arms into extended side angle pose. Put your hands down to the floor. Bring your back heel up and send your front foot back immediately into down dog split. Now let's bring your left heel down to the floor and point your left toes out like a 45-degree angle. Bend your right knee. Now look at your hand. See if you can put your right hand at the middle line of your mat. A lot of arm strength here. See if you can slowly release your left hand. If you find it's extremely hard, you can keep your left fingertips on the floor only. But if you feel like you're balanced enough to do so, reaching your left hand toward your right foot. Ooh. Maybe you can hold your foot, but if you can't, it doesn't matter at all. Keep reaching them toward each other. Oh, I can find my foot now here. And then let's slowly get out. Downward facing dog. Inhale, plank. Exhale, chaturanga. And inhale, cobra or up dog. Remember, big chest, long neck. And exhale, down dog. Okay, stay for a while in down dog. Calm down with your breath before we do wild thing, optional wheel pose. And then side plank and step your left foot toward the position where you are having your left hand right now. So that's the order of where we go. When you're ready, let's inhale, left leg up. Open your hip to the left side, bend your left knee and step your left foot behind you. Wild thing first. Turn your chest up and bring your left arm over your ear. Feel like your left hand wants to hold your right hand here. You can move to wheel pose here by bringing your left hand down to the floor, pointing your fingers toward your foot. That's optional. Last time we did the transition before, but it's quite hard, so you don't have to force yourself. And to get out of this pose, prepare yourself into a plank, side plank, with your left hand up to the sky. Prepare your right foot like in side plank, flexing your toes up, standing with only the inside of your right foot, and slowly pick your left leg up. Bring your left knee up really high and step your left foot very slowly toward the position of your right hand on the floor. High lunge as you inhale. Slowly stand up and exhale, bring your hands behind you. Interlace your finger, maybe the other way, the unusual way. Inhale, squeezing your elbows, your shoulders toward each other on the back, and exhale, lift your hands up. The back bend here, you can touch your thumbs into your back thigh and slowly walk along your thighs for deeper and deeper back bend, but always squeezing your arms together behind you. So imagine if I stand in front of you, you will not see your arms. I will not see your arms. Inhale, chest up even higher. Don't let all the bend go down to your low back. Make the bend go to your chest. And exhale. Then slowly come up. As you inhale, lift your hands up and exhale, humble warrior. Put your shoulder onto your knee. Point your hands straight up to the sky. Inhale deeply. And exhale. And slowly release your hands. Step your back foot forward. Inhale halfway up. And exhale, forward bend. Then slowly stand up as you inhale. Bring your arms over your head. And exhale, give yourself a big back bend in standing position. So with all the back bend we did before, maybe now this pose quite easy. And you can go a bit deeper too. Inhale and exhale, slowly get out of the pose. Hands in front of your heart. Close your eyes and find your core strength back every time you exhale by squeezing your belly to your spine. As you slowly open your eyes, I suggest you find a wall so that you can do back bend standing with the wall. Let's start quite far away from the wall with your back facing into the wall. We're going to bring your arms over your head as you inhale and trying to reach your arms, your hands toward the wall. So here I am. And see if you can push your hands down into the wall. Keep looking up into the ceiling. Don't let your head go. And stay here. Think of how you want to push your hips forward and your chest up as you push your hand into the wall. And take for a few breaths. And then to get out of this pose, push slightly into the wall to get out of the pose. And come back to your mat. Let's inhale, bring your arms up. And exhale, tighten your belly in and squat down into a chair pose. As you inhale here, exhale, bring your hands down to the floor. Forward bend. For the forward bend now, let's bend your knees and make sure your belly is sticking to your thighs. So it would not be too much of a sudden movement for your back. Then slowly walk your right leg back. Bring your right knee down to the floor into low lunge. And here you can use a pillow to support into your knee because it's going to bend your knee now. So Anjani Asana pose. And slowly raise yourself up. Try to turn your right knee in. Don't open your right knee out. And think of how your hip bones, your shoulder, your belly button, all of them are facing the front. Inhale, bring your arms over your head and keep reaching your hands. Bend your elbows. It's like you're reaching something behind you and lower than you. And that something is your foot. So hugging your elbows in, keep your hip lower and bend your knee. Point your toes toward your hand and reach your hands toward your toes. It's very hard to hold your foot. You cannot find your foot right now. It's the first time you try it. But think of imagine how you are going to catch your hand to your foot sometime. And keep reaching your hand back and back. Keep inhale and exhale. And every time you exhale is a chance for you to go deeper into the pose. And then slowly get out of this pose. Bring your hands down to the floor. Find the blocks with you. Put the blocks to the side. And stand up into pyramid pose. Bring your hips up. Let's inhale cow pose in pyramid. And think of the scissor, the pair of scissors. Your back foot wants to move forward and your front foot wants to go back. Make that fox, but don't actually move your legs. Take a deep inhale and exhale, forward bend. Stick your belly to your thighs again, even if that means you bend your front knee. That's fine. But think of how you bring your forehead down to the knee or even to the shin bone lower than your knee. Keep a few breaths here as you inhale and exhale. Then slowly bring your back knee down to the floor again. This time we're going to try it with the strap. So let's hold the block next to your hip and in the high side of the block. Hold the block with your right hand. Hold the block with your left hand. Hold the strap with your right hand and close your right hip in. So when you bend your knee, it will be the kneecap, the top part of the knee that will touch the pillow and not the inside. So if you're turning yourself to the side, it will be the inside of your knee that touch the pillow. And that's not a good and stable position for your knee. Let's bend your knee and wear the strap into your foot. Oops. Alright, here I am. Yes. And the same, move your hand and your foot close to your shoulder. Maybe you have to lengthen the strap for that and bring your arms over your head. Here you are in Anjani Asana pose with the flip grip, and always turning your right hip forward. The more you do that, the more stretch you will find at the front of your hip in exactly the hip flexor group that we want to stretch. Your left hand can still be on the block or can join your right hand into the strap. And we are here. Stay here for a few breaths. It's very uncomfortable, but try to calm your body down using your long and deep breath. And point your toes up toward your head all the time. Make your leg really strong, having its own strength. And to get out of this pose, find the block again. You can just release the strap. Whew. And half split. So hold the blocks. Put the front heel forward. Move your hip back. There's no stretch anymore in the back leg. Flex your toes up to your face. Bend your knees. Inhale. Turn your chest up. And you can stay here and feel the hamstring stretch on the front leg. Or you can bend your elbow, stick your belly to your thigh, even if you have to bend your front knee a lot. And stay for a few breaths. And then let's slowly get out of this pose. Put your foot back down to the floor, move the blocks to the side, and move the pillow to the side. Bring your hands down to the floor and step back into downward facing dog. Now I want you to look at me first. I'm going to do the back bend inside down dog. So I'm going to bring my right leg up and my left foot will be on the floor. You can point your left toes out. It's much easier for us to keep balance with your left toe pointing out a little bit, like kind of a 45-degree angle. So this time we're going to do it with opposite arm and leg, your left arm with your right leg. You can watch me first. I'm going to use the strap on my left hand. I will put my right hand in the middle line of the mat and do spider hand. So it's like what we do in crowd pose and handstand, grabbing the fingertips down to the mat. I'm going to hold the strap and weight into my right foot, and I will try to do the flip grip here. So hand close to your shoulder and over your head. Whoo. Everything's strong here. So let's try to do that slowly. I'll wait for you here. Opposite arm and leg. Foot pointing out 45 degrees. And to get out of this pose, slowly bring your hand into your shoulder and get out of the pose. Bring your knees down to the floor. Some cat and cow. And now I'm going to try the side plank with flip grip. So again, you're going to watch me first. I'm going to plank pose and then side plank with my left hand on the floor. My right hand will again hold the strap. Side plank. And then I'm going to bring my right leg up and wear the strap into my foot and try to perform flip grip here. It doesn't matter if my strap is long or short, but you bring your leg back, so you have to push your hip forward to maintain the balance in the pose. And once you want to get out of this pose, remove the strap. So you can try that. You don't have to stay in the pose for long. Just slowly get in and then quickly get out, but don't drop your knee or like fall down to the floor. Do everything with control. Decide when you want to get out. So you will not fall out of the pose, but you decide to get out of the pose. And it doesn't matter if you stay in the pose for like 1 second or less, or maybe you're halfway into the pose but you want to terminate it. Then feel free to do that. And then the next time you do it, you will be able to go further, and so you will move on. So after you've done with these 2 poses, let's lay down to the floor on your back. We're going to try wheel pose. At first, let's raise your hands up and shake your hands in all the directions you can shake. So you give your wrist some relaxation. All right. And then let's bend your knees like in bridge pose. Put your hands down on the floor next to your ears. and your fingers are pointing into your shoulders. Hug your elbows in. So what happened in wheel pose is that your elbows are pointing out as you push yourself up. Just the same problem we have in chaturanga and crow pose. When we start putting weight on the arm, the elbows pointing out. And this is internal rotation. So we try to stop that from happening by hugging your elbows into each other all the time. So go to wheel pose really slowly and with control. In the first few times, maybe you find it really hard to control. You know what's going on, but you cannot do anything to change it. But it is fine. You just keep observing and put a lot of attention into it, and then it will become your new habit. So from here, keep hugging your elbows in. Put your feet down to the floor and lift your hips up first. Then push through your hands. Maybe you can put the top of your head down to the floor and still with your elbows hugging in. If you push harder and strengthening your elbows, you may go to wheel pose. If you are still struggling with wheel pose, you can still keep your head on the floor and then get out of the pose, so you don't have to stay for long. But if you're in wheel pose, push your chest forward and feel like you want to straighten your knees and make your hamstring, your buttock work very hard, so there will not be so much pressure on your low back. It will be so opening on the chest and the front of your shoulder. And to get out of this pose, slowly bend your elbows, just like in chaturanga. You can see your elbows bending and hugging to your head, and lay down to the floor, hands up to the sky again, and shaking hands again gently. You can hold your hands, you can make waves or nice rotation to your hands. So that will wheel pose. And then slowly get out of this pose. So turn yourself to the side, table pose. And at first, let's give your hands some nice relaxation. Turn the top of your hand down to the floor, squeeze and release. Squeeze and release. Squeeze really tight to stretch the outside of your hand, and do the same with the other hand. Okay, and then put your hands down to the floor. Downward facing dog as you exhale. Then step your feet forward toward your hands. Inhale halfway up. And exhale, forward bend. Then stand up into standing, arms over your head as you inhale. Exhale, hands in front of your heart. Take a few breaths here. You can shake your hands again and be ready for the standing wheel pose, let's say so, with the whirl. So when you're ready, come to the whirl again. Let's stay a little bit further and we try. If you feel like you're too far away, you step. You come closer. But to me, this is fine. I can be here. So let's inhale, bring your arms over your head, touching your hands. And start leaning yourself forward as you move your hips forward. Start leaning yourself backward as you move your hip forward and your chest up. Maybe you can find the whirl here. So if you start very low, very close, you can start walking your feet further away from the whirl. Don't let go of your head, it's scary. Keep looking up and try to breathe in this very hard to breathe situation. Raise your chest up all the time really high and push your shoulders up. Feel the stretch at the front of your shoulders. And then push into the whirl to get out of the pose. Round yourself a little bit. And step back into your mat. So inhale, squeeze your belly in and sit down in chair pose. Don't point your butt out, don't make a back bend in chair. And exhale, belly to your thighs. Keep your knees bent like in chair pose. So you will not be too sudden movement for your low back and stay here for a while. This is just lengthening very gently in your low back. And then step your left foot back, a long step. Let's bring the pillow underneath your left knee. Low lunge pose. And turn your left hip in all the time. Bring your arms over your head. You can hold your hands. And then bend your elbows. So it's like you want to reach something underneath and behind you. And that something will be your foot. Let's try not to cross your arm into your head. but your arms and your head are independent from each other. And from here, turn your left hip in even more and bend your left knee. Point your toes toward your hands and your hands reaching to your toes. Again, you are not there yet, but imagine, because what you have in your head will eventually happen in real life. So think of how your hand will hold your foot one day. Keep reaching them toward each other and lean yourself back more and more. Hug your elbows in toward you. Highly focus. You can even close your eyes if you feel the balance is really good. Lean back every time you exhale. And then slowly get out of this pose. Find the blocks with you. Pyramid pose. Bring your back toes down to the floor. Lift your hips from the floor. Make hip square by doing the scissoring action. Bring your front leg back, but bring your back leg forward without actually moving them. Just make the muscles work that way. Let's inhale, bend your knees slightly as you do the cow pose. And you can stay here or exhale, stick your belly to your thighs and forward bend. And it's fine if you're bending your front knee. Doesn't matter at all. But make your head come lower and lower as if you want to touch your forehead into your shin bone. And then slowly get out of this pose. Bring your back knee down to the floor again. Going to try the flip grip in Anjali Asana. So hold the strap with your left hand. Hold the right hand on the block next to your hip so that you will be upright. Turn your left hip in all the time. Bend your left knee and wear the strap into your left foot. Yeah, and once you are here, make your hip low. Bring your hand into your shoulder and bring your arm over your head in front of you. And always turning your left hip in so that your thigh bone, the top of your thigh bone, the kneecap will be on the floor and not at all the inside of your knee. It's an unstable position. Your right hand can be on the block or can be holding the strap too. And keep hugging your elbows in. And stay here for a few breaths. Again, it's a hard to breathe situation, but still calm yourself down by breathing deep. Maybe you can even walk your hand closer toward your foot. Maybe 1 millimeter only. That's already a big progress for this kind of stretch. Every time you exhale, squeeze your belly in, and to get out of this pose, find the block again. Slowly slide the strap out of your way. Half split, slowly move your hip back. Take it slow. We don't want to do any sudden movement here. You can hold the blocks. Put your front heel forward, flex your toes up. You can still bend your front knee, but inhale, cow pose. Imagine you want to tilt your tail up. You want to do a back bend. And you can either stay here and feel the stretch in the hamstring, or you can forward bend. So belly to your thigh again. Stay for a few breaths. And then let's slowly get out of this pose. Bring your blocks away, bring the pillow away. We go to downward facing dog, and we're going to do the flip grip variation in the down dog. So you can watch me first. Step your front foot back into down dog. Stay here for a while. And now let's put your right foot down to the floor, pointing your right toes out. Left hand will be at the middle line of your mat into the spider hand. So the root of your fingers and the tips of your fingers will be pressing down to the floor very much to stop you from slipping. So notice that now your arm is like in a very slippery position. So you have to put the brake on all your fingertips to keep you from slipping. Hold the strap with your right hand. Lift your left leg up and wear the strap into your left foot. Bring your leg up. Bring your hand to your shoulder and maybe perform the flip grip here in downward facing dog. Hugging your elbows to your head all the time. And doesn't matter if you are in a deep back bend or not, or if you bring your leg up high or not. It's already a big stretch and challenging pose here as you do it. So let's go into this pose. I'm going to wait for you here. Take all the time you need. Get in and then out of the pose. And then once you're out of the pose, you can sit down and give your hands some nice shaking movement. And I'm going to do it first, and you follow me with the side plank with flip grip. This time, we side plank with your right hand and flip grip with your left side. So right hand in the middle line of your mat, and this time your arm will be straight. So that means your elbow, your wrist and your shoulder will be stacking right on the top of each other. Turning your toes to the left side, and then slowly lift your left leg up, wear the strap into your left leg, bring your left leg behind you, and you push your hip forward as your leg go behind you to create a balancing position for your flip grip side plank. Look at anything that may keep you balanced. And to get out of the pose, just move the strap away and get out of the pose. So I'm going to wait for you to finish your pose. Take all the time you need. Very slowly get in and then get out. And try to control the situation, so don't throw your arms and leg on the ground. Be very gentle. Great control. And once you're done, you can sit down and shake your hands. Make some nice movement with your hands, waving, turning around. Yeah. And eventually we're going to do wheel pose for one more time. Right. Let's lay down to the floor. Bend your knees. And then put your hands next to your shoulders, next to your ears, and your fingertips pointing into your shoulder. Look at your elbows, make sure they are hugging in all the time. So I have a suggestion that if you want to, you can try to use a strap to keep your arms in the position. So if you want to do so, let's make a loop into the strap and make the loop as wide as or slightly more narrow than your shoulders, and wear around your arm. Okay, and from here, actually no, forget. Okay, so once you're here in wheel pose, we're going to lift your hips up first. Let's lay down and imagine what you're going to do. Hip up first and then chest up, just like in fish pose, and the top of your head will be on the floor. And then if you straighten your arms, the top of your head will leave the floor too. And once you have imagined what you're going to do, let's actually do that. So hip up first like in bridge pose. And then maybe shoulders up and the top of your head will be on the floor. And eventually push into your arm and the top of your head will be off the floor too. So you can stay in one of those steps and get out of the pose and do the pose again until you build up enough arm strength to do wheel pose. But if you're in wheel pose, push your chest forward and feel the big stretch in your belly, in your chest, in your shoulder, and not so bendy in your lower back. Then to get out of this pose, chin to your chest, lowering your elbow, your arms, and bring your head down to the floor and lay down to the floor. Raise your hands up and give your hands some very gentle movement of shaking, turning your hands, make waves and such. All right, and now you're going to watch me. I'm going to do the hard wheel pose. It's called hard wheel pose, but it's actually maybe easier than the real wheel pose. So for this pose, I'm going to prepare by put my hands behind me like this, and my elbows already beside my head. My hand will be here, and I'll be flat on the floor. So what I do is that I'm going to press through my elbow to lift my chest and my head up, just like in wheel. And once I'm there, I'm going to hold my hands like this. All right, so I'm going to do that first, and then you follow me. I'm laid down to the floor with my arms underneath my head. Now my elbows already underneath my head. And then I will lift my hips up, chest up, and then into my elbows. walk my feet a bit closer, lift my elbows from the floor. You can still keep your hands here, or if possible, you find your hands, interlace your finger and press through your hands. So you press into your elbows so much that your head will be lifted off the floor. And stay here for a few breaths. So for some people, this pose may feel even easier than wheel pose because it's not so scary. And to get out of the pose very easily, bring your head down to the floor, release your hand, hold your hands back to your shoulder and lay back down the same way you get in. So you can try this pose. I'm going to do this one more time with you. But notice that you may need to step your feet a bit closer to you as you go to this wheel pose. So once you're ready, feet and legs in bridge position, press into your feet, hips up, chest up, walk a bit closer. And if you can find your hands, interlace your hands, press your forearms down to the floor so much that your head will be lifted off the floor and opening through your chest. Press your body forward through your chest. Keep a few inhale and exhale. And then to get out of the pose, release your hands, don't interlace your finger anymore, stack your hands on each other flat so that you can lay down onto your hand. Whew. And bring your arms along your body. How did that feel? If you did the pose to any extent, you should feel impressive about your body. You should feel impressed about your body and what you did, because this is a hard yoga pose. It's also very beautiful, so if you feel like, you can take a picture of how you're doing the pose. A very high chance that you look actually better than you thought. Sometimes we think we look so sloppy and messy in some poses, but actually we do a great job there. So if you want to, you can take a photo of the pose you did to look at it, and you can send me the pictures too. I would highly appreciate it. Whew. And then let's relax from here. So let's bring your arms out like a letter T. Put your right leg on top of your left leg and bring both legs in this shape to the left side. You can use your left hand to keep your legs on the ground. If your legs are not on the ground, you can support a pillow or a block underneath them and turn your face to the right side. And then let's slowly come back to the center and change side. Let's bring your left leg on top of your right leg and bring both of the legs to the right side. And again, you can support a pillow or blocks underneath your legs. And turning your face to the left side. And slowly get out of the pose, and now Bend your knees just like we did at the beginning of the class. Keep your knees right on the top of your hips, not too close to your chest and not too far away from your chest. So you make sure your hips and your back will be on the floor. Then let's put the pillow or the block on top of your shin bone and stay here for a while. So you really press your back, your low back down to the floor. You can keep your hands on your belly. This is nothing hardcore. It's a very gentle core activation. Just enough to lengthen your lower back again. Stay here for a few breaths. And move your hips a little bit further away from your shoulders, lengthening in your spine. And once you feel ready, you can go to Savasana pose. Bring your heels away from your hips. Bring your shoulders away from your hips too. And bring your hands away from your shoulders. It was a lot of energy, a lot of strength in backbend. Stay here and allow your body to rest. And also you can enjoy all the new space you have open on the front of your body. Big backbends look really scary. And actually backbends are quite scary because you show all the weak points of your body, very exposing, such as your throat, your heart, your belly with all the important organs inside. But by controlling our body and our mind and through controlling the breath, you're going to master the backbend poses. Not in the meaning that you're going to do them perfectly and beautifully, but it means that you are not scared of the backbend. You decide when you go in and out of the backbends and how much you're going to be in the backbends. And that is a benefit, a huge benefit of doing backbend. Stretching the front of your body, strengthening the back side of your body, and gain much more body awareness. And get over stressful situation. And those benefits, you don't need to do a backbend pose perfectly or put your foot on your head to gain. You can gain those benefits doing backbend with a strap. Or not doing the full pose. So you can stay here in Savasana and be proud of yourself as you pamper yourself a little bit so that yourself calm down and relax. Backbends are very exciting, and I know it's quite hard to rest on the floor after a lot of backbends. But stay here for a while and relax yourself before you move on and do other activities in the day. And I will see you in the next class. Thank you very much. Namaste.